We do more than $70 million in uncompensated care and other community outreach, which a lot of people don't know. And we do try to support other nonprofits and to help you guys get your messages out through our social media channels, especially as it relates to health and social services issues. And I was telling this group the way that Swedish got into social media. We've been on it for a good year and a half, and really what happened is I think I'm in a unique position than the rest of the panel in that my department is a marketing communications department of 10 people, which I know is a lot for a nonprofit, but for an organization our size, we always wish that we had more. But in early 2009, we actually were a 24-person department. When the economy fell apart, there were massive layoffs that happened in our organization. And so we went from being a 24-person department to a 10-person department. We also saw just budgetary constraints, and we knew we really had to make a change in the way that we approached marketing communications efforts. So rather than trying to invest in getting the word out through TV and print and radio, we really felt that we needed to catch up on online communications. So everything from our website to Google to social media, which at the time we were just kind of like, well, what is this thing? And we really invested time and energy into building up our social media channels. And it's been a great way for us. I mean, the #1 goal for us has been to listen to our patients in the community. We have really great Wi-Fi in our hospital, so we have patients literally in their beds typing tweets about how their ESPN isn't working on cable, their food came late, or I think one guy who arrived for his surgery at 5:30 in the morning like he was supposed to, and the door was locked. So we were able to call the nurse manager and say, can you open that door for him? And so we're able to troubleshoot issues, which is great. And I mean, honestly, most of the time what we see is really positive comments, which is awesome. Positive comments about stuff that our doctors and nurses are doing, people who are so grateful. So it's wonderful to be able to share that with our staff and the nurse managers to say, hey, look what people are saying about you. And then we also want to use it to educate the community about health issues, to try to encourage people to change to a healthy lifestyle. So that's a big piece of what we do. And getting our nonprofit message out. We're doing a lot of growing, trying to serve suburban communities, so we're trying to engage in those local communities as well. Social media has been a really great tool for that. So those are the kinds of things we're doing. And as far as challenges, I don't know about you, but is work-life balance a challenge now that social media is taking up so much of your time? It's like, I find myself on Twitter at 10 at night, and unfortunately I just got a puppy, so that's forcing me to stay focused on the home and not as much multitasking.
Hello, I'm Tara Smith. I'm the Executive Director of Seattle Works, which is a nonprofit that gets people more involved in the community, people who are looking to volunteer, get more involved as a community leader, make their voice heard. And one of your colleagues in our pre-lunch warm-up session said something about us being galvanizing volunteers or a force for mobilizing volunteers, but whatever she said was better than whatever I That's why communications professionals exist. I'm the executive director now. It's a little less than a year old, but previous to that was doing fundraising and communications efforts for Seattle Works, was at seattleworks.org, was our Facebook, through the creation, our entry and growth into that space. In terms of our goals, they're pretty general, and yet we definitely made some, which are to connect and engage with new people and organizations, to form deeper connections with people already in the Seattle Works community, to provide a forum for Seattle Works community members to connect with one another, and to further serve as a thought leader. We think we know things about what makes for great volunteer experiences, for what helps people get involved in their community, and we don't always share that information in a way that could be helpful. So we saw that as a place to be able to do it. And then just recently at our social media committee's most recent meeting, we reviewed, these have been our goals since we started. We reviewed them for the year to say, are these still the right goals? Is what we want to do. And for ourselves, more internally, we added an extra goal this year, which is develop an infrastructure for sustainability and some succession planning as well. Where we've been successful, We're smaller. I was interested in the last group. Some larger organizations sort of snuck social media in because they knew it was important, but there's a cultural resistance to it. I had a very different experience. We have all, our primary engaged audience is community-minded young professionals, and so when social media was newer, it was like, we have to do this, we have to do this. And I was like, I can't do this, I don't know how it works, I'm afraid of it, I'm too busy. So our institutional pressure was, we have to do this thing, this is important, people want this, you have to do it. It was like, oh. So very different, I think, than being the lone voice saying, we have to do this, and everybody else saying no. It's scary. So we've just had some fun jumping in and seeing how it goes. I think we've had a lot of success engaging volunteers in Seattle Works. We try really hard to model it. We think other organizations should embrace volunteerism, and we should be good ourselves at working with volunteers, we would hope. And at least in this case, we certainly are a really great social media committee who helped us get up and running and continues to be a huge resource. We've had 2 successful year-end fundraising campaigns in a row for us. We had previously pretty pitiful year-end fundraising campaign, and once we started thinking more clearly about it and engaging our social media committee and how we could make that campaign something interesting and exciting, we saw a lot more participation, so that was a success. In terms of challenges, because I think it's been really healthy and good that we're figuring out some stuff as we go, and we're having some fun and doing things, we're now at a point where we need to really understand how much time and effort should we be spending on this. We could spend an infinite amount of time tweeting. We have somebody tweeting for Seattle Works all day. What is the return on investment? How much time should we be doing that? And so just trying to make sure that, we have great goals. They don't have super concrete metrics for them. So now that we can play it around and have some success, how do we really become focused and make sure that we're using resources in the best way possible?
Many of you attending today responded to a survey inquiring about what areas of focus, areas of interest you'd like to cover today. And I'm not sure if this was shared with you earlier or throughout any of the breakout sessions, but the number 1 area of interest for this group today, more than any other, is connecting with influencers. Number 2, analytics, return on investment. Number 3, fundraising. The number 1 area of interest, connecting with influencers. I think that, what I'm hearing from this panel, I'm sure what a lot of you heard today, that really needs to be fundamentally in order to fundamentally understand and be successful in connecting with influencers. In my view, I think it starts with voice, identity, and voice. Who are we? What do we do? How do we serve people? And how do we translate that into an active voice in these social spaces? So I'm hoping the panel can talk a little bit about some of their thoughts, experiences around identity, organizational identity, individual identity, translating that into these social spaces. And then maybe we can circle around that question of voice again too. How do we get there? What are some of your experiences?
Well, I love that question. I don't mind jumping in because I think voice and authenticity are so important. And I've actually been in Swedish for 13 years, and I started out as a writer and just gradually got more responsibility, but I feel like I really have a handle on the voice, which is, so I know what's important to the organization, I know how we normally talk, I know what our priorities are. And so that's why I run the Twitter account and the Facebook account for the organization. We have other sub-accounts, but I just feel like I'm the one who knows it the best. So I feel the most comfortable responding to patients, or the most comfortable getting our messages out. Sometimes I hear people talk about hiring an intern to, that once they get their new intern, they're going to start their social media program. And I always cringe at that just because you wouldn't put an intern in front of the news media to be your media spokesperson. So why would you do that for your social media activities?
I think for PMB, this has really opened a lot of new doors for communicating our story better. We have a lot of resources. We have art being made in our building every single day. We have live music in our building every single day. We have 50 professional dancers from all over the